even humans can also be infested. So here to break it all down for us is Alan Mendenhall, Economic Research Fellow for the Heritage Foundation. Alan, thanks for joining us today. We, of course, heard there from Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He's escalating the state's response. What does that tell you if it's something serious or not? Why, if it's not, why would he escalate the response? What do you think? Is this really serious?
Well, I'm not a scientist who can tell you a lot about screwworm, but I do know a thing or two about the economy. And I think that this signals bad news because we've already had a lot of issues with cattle. I mean, it's not something people think about all the time, but when you look at the price of a steak hovering around $13 a pound, you might notice. But this just compounds what was already a complicated situation because we had drought, we had inflation, and that resulted in something called herd liquidation. And that's when ranchers and farmers try to sell off cattle because of different things. It could be inflation, it could be financial reasons, it could be other things, like even this worm issue could be one of them. But when you unload your supply like that, you're going to result in shortages. And we, in fact, had a 75-year low of U.S. cattle. And when you have fewer cattle, then you have fewer calves because the cattle aren't reproducing at the same rate. Then last year we closed the Mexican border for feeder cattle, and so now we have even tighter supplies. So it's just like a chain reaction. It's one thing after another, and it's resulted in high cattle prices and record high beef prices.
Yeah, I'm definitely very familiar with the price of steak, as it's one of my favorite food groups.
I thought you might
Alan, be. But food safety is not an issue, is what the governor said. But how serious is this going to be for the industry? Because as you mentioned, it's already tight. What could this do to the price of beef and the industry as a whole when it comes to cattle producers?
In general, when you have a low supply and you have a very high demand, fortunately, we're still a lot of carnivores here in this country. So we love steak, we love ground beef, we love this stuff,
Amen.
But we just don't have enough of it. So this is problematic. And add to it something that you and I have talked about several times on this program, which is higher gas prices, because you think about higher transportation costs. Well, that's more expensive feed delivery. That's more expensive cattle hauling. There's meat processing and retail distribution afterwards. There's that's all resulting in higher margins for ranchers and for processing. And the costs just go all the way through the supply chain and result in higher cattle prices. So, and that's going to be higher prices for consumers. So, yeah, I think it's a tough thing for the industry to deal with, especially because when you're dealing with a low cattle supply, that's not something that you can just fix right away. It's not like, oh, we have a factory and let's just increase production. It takes a year, 2 years, 3 years to increase that supply of cattle because, again, when you have a shortage, you can't even breed cattle at the same rate. You have to have more cattle to breed more cattle. So the problem just compounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am hoping and praying this is not some larger issue because there's nothing better than the taste of farm fresh beef. I really hope that this screwworm is something they can get under control as quickly as possible. Alan Mendenhall, we are up against the clock. Got to leave it there. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Thanks, Zach.